Good morning, everyone. I'm excited to be doing this webinar, helping you to use both Scratch and Tinkercad in the classroom. It looks like everyone who signed up for this particular webinar is currently using STEMFuse, so that's going to be wonderful because I will be able to show you how to use that. If you don't know that you have a STEMFuse account, I can definitely send that to you, and I'm going to show you how that account is going to help make using Scratch and Tinkercad so much easier. But and we'll start here in just a minute. I want to make sure everyone can have a chance to join. If you do have any questions during this webinar, you can see that I typed in the chat box there. When you have questions, please type them in the chat box as I'm going along, and I will definitely try to answer them the best that I can. So just give me a second and we'll get started in a minute. Okay, another thing that I want to let you know is there is a handout. So if you look on the right side there is a handout for you. And that is going to tell you how to set up a classroom account in Scratch. So you can just grab a hold of that and you can use that handout. If you have any problems with that, we can also email that to you, or I can show you how you can find that on your own. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get started. Again, all of you that signed up for this particular webinar do currently have a STEMFuse account. So I'm going to go to that account first and just kind of show you where things are. So when you first log into your STEMFuse account, you are going to see any courses that you ordered here. For those of you that are joining this webinar today, you've all purchased STEM at Elementary. So you would simply click on STEM at Elementary here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then once you get into your account, there are a few features that I'd like you to see. The first one, especially when you're talking about using Scratch and Tinkercad, the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to Start here, because that's where you're going to find some good little nuggets to kind of help you out. And again, reminder, if you have any questions, go ahead and just type them in that chat box there. So along with all of the materials that you have to help you through your STEMFuse course, you do have a couple of things here. You have one, how to create a Scratch account, how to create a Tinkercad account, and then how to create a Tinkercad classroom account. Now, what I put into your handouts is also how to create a Scratch Scratch classroom account. And so we're going to kind of walk through the differences there. So let me just show you, first of all, though, where you're going to be using Scratch and where you're going to be using Tinkercad within STEMFuse. Now, STEMFuse, even within the actual course, teaches you and your students how to set up a Scratch account and a Tinkercad account right within the course. But these other tools are really great. Also, when it comes time to printing with your 3D printer, this is the place that you can go that's going to give you some information on printing. So I really wanted to show you underneath Start here all these great tools that you have. So what I'm going to do first is just show you where this is in your course. So again, with STEM and Elementary, you have lessons for grades K to 2 and grades 3 to 5. So let's say that I wanted to do the science lesson on gravity, and I've already done my hands-on lesson. This is the hands-on lesson where the students are using materials that they already have at home during this particular time during distance learning. Normally we would say materials that you currently have in your classroom, but now kids are doing this at home. So the materials they have are at home. In this case, they're making a parachute using materials they have at home, trying to get it to stay in the air the longest. They will report to you how they did using this journal that you have within your course. Each and every single lesson has this journal. And so that's the first one. But now when we're talking about Scratch and we're talking about 3D printing, for Scratch, that's going to be under this Code It lesson. And for 3D printing, it's going to be under the Create It 3D Print lesson. What's nice about these is this is going to take all the pressure off of you, because now you really don't have to become an expert in Scratch, because every single one of our lessons is going to teach them a different aspect of Scratch. So in this case, the kids are going to learn how to use video motion block extensions, set video motion input sensitivity, and change a Y position either up and down of the sprite. Now, these words may seem like Swahili to you right now, and that's okay, because they're going to sound like Swahili to your students too. The good news is we're letting them know ahead of time what they're going to be learning, and then they're actually going to learn those in the step-by-step lesson. So I'm just going to go ahead and click this arrow here. If I wanted my students to practice or play the game that they're actually going to create in Scratch, they could go here and play it. But for today's purposes, I just want to show you. So see, you can see here that it's saying you can click right here to set up your account, and it's going to walk you through step-by-step setting up a Scratch account. If you don't want your students to set up a Scratch account and you just want them to go directly into Scratch, it's going to take them here, and then they're simply going to click on See Inside, and they're going to be able to do the lesson without even setting up a Scratch account. Now, the negative thing of this is they cannot save it. So it's one way to do it. If students, don't want to set up a Scratch account or don't feel comfortable, they can make their game, they can play with it, but they can't save it because they don't have an account. Otherwise, you want them to set up an account, and that's what this is going to do. And then I'm going to go over that in a second. And then, of course, the lesson is going to step-by-step show your students the steps. It's going to give them a picture. It's also going to give them a video. So this is even better than just taking them randomly through Scratch, because it's going to walk them through step-by-step and teach all those objectives that I just showed you. And see, since you're not there because they're at home, now they can do this on their own, using the directions, using the picture, and using the video. So if you have students who are struggling with reading, no problem, that video is going to be right there. So that is going to be the step-by-step. And again, every single lesson teaches them a different aspect of Scratch. So this is a great tool for you to send your students to. Now, if you haven't learned or remember how to give your students access to STEMFuse from home, that's really easy as well. So let's go back to the Start Here. And right here underneath Start Here, the very first icon tells you how to set up a class for your students. So it's going to walk you through step-by-step so that you know how to give your students access. So what you're going to do is, there's a video here, but you can also look at the screenshots. You're going to first set up a class, and then once you do that, it's going to give you an access code. Once you have that access code, you can go in and set up a username and password that all of your students can use. So every single student can have the same username and password. So for example, if your school mascot is Cougars, you could say, okay, kids, your username is Cougars, your password is ABC. You can make it really simple. So then when they log in to STEMFuse, I'll log out here, they would simply log in to Educate. So they would go to educate.stemfuse.com. They would log in and they would type in whatever username and password you give them. And then what they're going to see is they're going to see a student account. So you'll be able to see also, you have control over that because you've created the class. And if you want a really fast video to show you this, and I'm not getting too much into this one because the purpose of this webinar is for Scratch and Tinkercad, but if you go to the Educate Training Library, which is in that black box up at the top, and you click on Create a Shared Account, this is a 1 minute and 20-second video that shows you exactly how to give your students access. And then once you've given them access, so let's say that I have a second grade class and I've created this class, then I have the ability to go in and hide and make visible anything I want my students to use or not use. So if I want them just to use some of the lessons, see some of the lessons or not others, again, I can make visible and hide everything. But when they log in, all they are going to see are the rocket ships and the journal. Anything with an apple on it, your students will not be able to see. The apple stands for the teacher. And again, you can either go to Start Here and follow that step-by-step instruction, or you can go to that video on Educate Training Library. And I'll just click on that again. And you're going to do the create a shared account. So that's the video you would click on. So again, the Educate Training Library. But for now, I'm going to go back into my STEM and Elementary under Start Here. So this first one is showing me how to give my students access so they can do that cool walking through the Scratch lesson and go to coding. Now, here's where we have how to create a Scratch account. Now, remember, it was right there in the lesson. But if you want to create a Scratch account and you just want to see how to do it step by step, it shows you that here. Now, what this does for you is gives you a couple different options. One is it says you can set up your students one by one, so they each have their own account. So how you would do that is you would simply go in, you would create your account, and then when you do that, you would then for the students, and I'll try to make this bigger here for you to see, you're going to type in your email, but then you're going to add plus the student's name before that, your at, whatever that is, whatever your school's name is, your email address is. So if you were going to do this one by one and add students, this is the way you could do that. So you would create your own account, and then you would go in and create one for each one of your students. And when it comes to email, this is what you would do. And that's how you can keep kind of track of your student account. Or you can have your students go in and create their own account. And then what they do is when it asks them for their birthday, they have the students enter the birth date as January 2000. And then you tell them what this particular email address way, because we don't want students to be giving out an email address. So here's what you would do. You give them your email address with plus their name, and they could do it themselves. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it is in that handout that I sent you on how to create a teacher account. And that is really a nice way to do it, because with Scratch, once you have a teacher account, and this is my teacher account, you can see that I can set up classes right in here myself. Now, how you set up a Tinker account is a Scratch account for a classroom is when you go in to set up your classroom account, just click that you're an educator, and it'll have you fill out information, and then it'll say, okay, send this in, and then you will be approved. And here's what the email will look like. So here it says your Scratch teacher account is ready, and it gives you some nice tips so that you can go in and then you can set up your classes, and it walks you through step by step. And that's actually on that handout that that I put in your on the side here of this particular webinar. So you can go in and you can see how to do that. But it's really easy. You're just going to click on Educator. It walks you through, asks you a bunch of questions, and then it's going to tell you how to set up a class very step by step. And that's how I would recommend doing it, because if I walk you through it, it's just something easy to forget. So again, if you look at the handout here that I gave you, if you click on that, it will look like this. Whoops, just hold on a second. So it'll look like this. And then you can see it gives you the website to go to with these directions, but it tells you click on my classes, fill out your class name. It's going to walk you through step by step. So this is your handout that you have right here that I've given you that you can just save to your computer and you can use. So this is going to be really helpful to you. And a reminder here, if you do have any questions or if I'm going too fast, please feel free to type in your question in the chat box there to the right where it says chat, and you can ask me questions and they will come up and I will do my best to answer them for you. Okay, so that is setting up Scratch. Again, the STEMFuse lessons are going to do all of the work for you. So you can, like I said, either have your students set up their own accounts depending upon what grade you have, or you can use that classroom account. And then notice they're going to learn different aspects of Scratch. So you can simply assign these. You can just tell your students, okay, go into your STEMFuse account, go, so when they go in, you can say, okay, what I want you to do is I want you to go to, let's just say you teach grades K to 2, you would just simply say, okay, kids, when you go in, I want you to go to science, I want you to go to gravity, and I want you to go to the second rocket ship coding, and I want you to do this lesson. Then please save your game to your Scratch account. And then because they're using your email, then you will be able to go in and you will be able to check and see how they did, how successful they were with it. So this is just something that'll be really fun for you to play with. Again, students are so much more technologically savvy than we are as teachers, and they're going to catch on to this really fast. They're also going to maybe even make improvements to their game or change their game or make it do different things. And we highly encourage that. We really want them to be able to expand their knowledge as they get into coding. And how we can look at this as teachers during this distance learning time is, yay, the kids are at home, they can be learning these things. It's going to be so much easier for us when they come back into the classroom because they're going to have taken the time to experiment. They're going to have taken the time to do these things. And if students have to have homework at home, coding and making a game and playing a game is going to be something fun and exciting for them. And keep in mind that each one of these games they're creating are also going to go with your content objective. So in this case, it's gravity. So they're going to be learning more about gravity as they code. So it's kind of, you know, a twofold kind of objective. So that is the coding and that is Scratch. Again, you will use your Start Here button to learn some of these things, and then you can just take them directly to this coding lesson. Okay, so now let's go to the 3D print. Again, what's nice about STEMFuse is you really could just go directly to the lesson. You could assign the lesson. The lesson does walk the students through how to set up a Tinkercad account. Oops. Sorry, I'm just trying to move a few things here off my screen and I'm having trouble. Okay, here we go. So we're going to go ahead and they're going to click on the first button, create, and you can see it's going to take them and teach them how to set up a Tinkercad account right away. Then what's also nice for your students and for yourself is there's a little video tutorial here to help them in setting up their account. So that's also nice for them. It's going to just show them exactly how to sign into Tinkercad. So again, for your students that struggle with reading, there's a little video right there for them. So everything in STEMFuse does give that little video. Now, when they go through and they're learning, again, just like with the coding, each one of our lessons is going to teach them a different aspect of Tinkercad. The word CAD is the word we use when we're talking about 3D design. It's called CAD software, or a way to help students learn how to design three-dimensionally. We understand that students cannot print something with 3D printing right now, but I will tell you this, that Tinkercad right now currently has a distance learning with Tinkercad contest that your students can enter. So this is another way to get them motivated to use Tinkercad at home. So it's for all educators and parents who are using Tinkercad as part of their distance learning experience. To enter, simply post and instruct, your instructions with an outline of assignment and demonstrate 3 examples of student work. So you could basically take the lesson plan that STEMFuse has already written for you, so that's done, and then send 3 examples of student work. The Instructables will be eligible to win a $500 gift card. And so here's, they're giving away 2 prizes of $500 gift cards for the following categories. So for different ones, can they make it move? Connectors, silly solutions, different ones here. So this is, if you go to Tinkercad and you click at the top, it'll say that they have this contest. So when you go to Tinkercad, this will pop up and you will learn about the contest. But I just thought this is something really interesting, especially now during distance learning, that you can get involved with, get your students involved with, and something very exciting for them to do. Kids love contests, etc. So that's just something that I wanted to make sure that you were aware of. So again, STEMFuse is going to do all the work for you. You simply assign your students to go to this. This is going to walk them through step by step. In this particular lesson, they're going to be learning how to resize an object. And then what you're going to have your students do is they will save it to their Tinkercad account. So again, this is a way that you will be able to check and see how they did, but also when they do get to come back to school, because it's saved in Tinkercad, and if they did want to print their work, then their work would be saved in their account. So you can see that these are some of the different things that I've created in my account. This happens to be the ring toss game that they are currently making in this one. So you can see that students simply just have to give you their username and password, and you can go in and see their work, or you can create, just like with Scratch, you can create a Tinkercad classroom account. So I'm going to get back out of this now and go back to Start Here, because underneath our Start Here, we do walk you through how to use Tinkercad Classroom. So that shows you that. It's right here. So again, when you sign in, it would be Educators Start Here, and then it's going to walk you through how to add students, etc. All the information you need is right here. And then again, I clicked on Start Here. Again, once you do get back to school and you want to learn how to print something, we do have a video that's going to walk you through how to print. So that's just right there. And again, that's underneath Start Here. So if this seems overwhelming because I'm going through all of this, I'm just going to kind of summarize it for you so that it's not overwhelming. First of all, know that you have all of these tools underneath Start Here. It's all right there for you. We make it really easy so you can go in and peruse it yourself. Secondly, all you really have to do is assign your students to this, and remember, our lessons will walk them through step by step. It will walk them through how to set up a Scratch account or a Tinkercad account. It's going to, oops, I clicked on the wrong one. It's going to do everything for you. If you have any questions how to log into your STEMFuse account, you are going to get some survey questions here at the end, and you can certainly type that in, or you can email my assistant Denise, who I know has emailed all of you, and she will definitely set you up with whatever you need. Are there any further questions at this point that you have regarding the Scratch or Tinkercad as we went through it today? Okay, well, if you do have questions or needs, again, feel free to reach out to myself or Denise. And thank you so much for joining. I look forward to hearing about the coding projects and the 3D print projects that your students are doing during this time. Thank you for all that you do, and happy Teacher Appreciation Week. We appreciate you very much. Have a great day.